Hey everybody, welcome to Bearded Baker Banter. It's the sports podcast where we got lots and lots of sports.
That's right.
Good
That's right.
evening, or good afternoon, good morning, gentlemen.
How's it going, fellas?
Hi, boys. Happy to be here.
Guys,
right.
we're in the final countdown here. We got Christmas.
know.
Christmas in just a few short days away. We
Can't
got
wait for that. Go ahead.
we got a
As
lot.
I was going to say, I can't wait for that holiday ham.
That's two fine hams.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Christmas dinner. I mean, I put it right up there with Thanksgiving dinner, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't feel like I eat as much. Like, I don't know. I feel like Thanksgiving, I just kind of stuff myself. But Christmas,
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy the food. But yeah, dude,
Food
it's
and the cookies.
a little ways away here, but we definitely got a lot of sports to talk about here leading into the weekend before we actually get to Christmas Day on Monday. Monday is also filled with some NFL football games, which is going to be phenomenal. We got college football bowl games all weekend long. It's going to be a great day, great weekend. So let's jump into it. We are going to continue our bowl picks from last week as promised. We ended with our Syracuse and South Florida picks. So we're going to jump right into the next couple of bowl picks that we're going to be making here. So you guys ready?
I'm ready.
First bowl we're going to look at here is the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. We got...
Todd, can we give a little update on where we stand right now?
We can.
Yeah, give a little live update for the leaderboard.
So leaderboard-wise, we actually ended up having 22 people join our Bearded Baker Banter Bowl Pick'em. Currently, there are 3 people sitting at 8-1. We got about 1, 2, 3. We got 5 people sitting at 7-2, and it kind of goes down from there. But yeah, so we ended with 22, which is kind of cool. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying it, doing well, making your picks. So we're gonna actually keep going with those spreads on here, just so everybody's aware of where we're getting these numbers from. All right, we're not going to talk about current spreads and everything, so we're just really going to kind of follow our ESPN Bowl Pick'em group spreads that way. So let's start with the Gasparilla Bowl here. We got UCF and we got the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. UCF is sitting at -4.5.
Trent, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to go with UCF minus the 4.5. A little bit different from a Gus Malzahn type team in the sense of they're not really, I mean, I'm not saying they're bad on offense, but they're very, very strong on defense and can be kind of stingy. So I'm going to trust UCF to take the Gasparilla Bowl this year over Georgia Tech at -4.5.
All right. Trey, who you got?
I'm actually going to go to the opposite of Trent here. I'm going to take Georgia Tech +4.5.
Okay.
I think UCF losing their running back to the transfer portal might hurt them a little bit. I also think that Georgia Tech's played some pretty good teams pretty tough, too. I know they had Georgia at the end of the season. They almost pulled that one out. They beat Miami. They beat UNC. So, granted, UNC not too good of a win, but I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. Well, Miami's still a pretty good team throughout the year.
Trey, they play in a conference that doesn't even matter, so... Right.
Yeah, it just won't exist here soon.
According to college football playoff, ACC, it just doesn't matter, so...
Yeah, but I still like their strength of schedule, all things considered. So I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets.
All right, I am on UCF. Interestingly enough, just to kind of see where people's picks are out of these two, it's pretty evenly split. You got 49% of people picked UCF, 51% picked Georgia Tech. So it is a pretty even split. I usually like to take the dogs, especially. 4.5 is kind of a nice line there for a dog. But I'm gonna go UCF here. I think they're gonna run away with it a little bit. So, all right, let's get into. Oh boy, I'm probably gonna mess this bowl name up. The Camellia Bowl. Camellia. Does that sound right?
Camellia.
Camellia.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's Camellia, I'll tell you.
Camellia, I don't know.
Okay,
But hey,
sorry.
we do have one of our favorite conferences representing in the Camellia Bowl. We got Northern Illinois Huskies at +1.5 against the Arkansas State Red Wolves with -1.5. Where are we sitting here?
Shoot. I know Trent's a big Mac Daddy guy. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Arkansas State here.
Boo.
No real rhyme or reason. I'm just feeling it. I'm gonna go with them.
Okay.
Uh,
Trent, go ahead, bud.
correct me if I'm wrong. Butch Davis, head coach, Arkansas State, old Tennessee coach.
That's a good question.
Wow.
Yeah, and they got spanked week 1. Pretty sure Butch Davis shed a couple tears on the sideline. Obviously bounced back, got him to bowl eligibility. But NIU, Northern Illinois, I am going to go with the Huskies in this one, +1.5. More than likely, I'm going to bet on Tyler wagering on Northern Illinois' second half team total.
Has that been holding true this year, Tyler? I know it was a big trend last year, but
no, not too much. They were kind of a tough team to pick this year. I didn't make them my official pick a lot. I did pick them a lot of games, but I did tinker with the second half stuff. There wasn't a trend this year though with them, unlike last year where they were big second half teams. This year it was like they're getting shut out for a whole half. You couldn't tell if it was going to be the first half or second half. Sometimes they'd put up 30 points in a quarter. Sometimes they'd put up 7 in a game. They were all over the place, which kind of surprised me too this year, especially because they had their quarterback back. I think for like his 7th or 8th or maybe even 9th season. No, I'm exaggerating. I think he was 6 or 7 actually. But I am going to go NIU here against Arkansas State, especially if it'd be trying to think it'd be Butch Jones.
Butch Jones, that's what I meant.
Not Butch Davis. But especially if with him as the coach, I do as a Tennessee fan, I am not a fan of him. So I'm definitely going with NIU here as my pick. So
who's Butch Davis?
Butch Davis used to coach Tar Heels. At one point, I feel like he might still be coaching somewhere. I'm not sure, but yeah, he was a coach.
Commentator on ESPN now.
Might have been in Miami too for a little bit.
Yes, commentator. He's like a in-house analyst, I believe, for ESPN or one of the college football talk shows. Yeah.
All right. Next we have the Birmingham Bowl. We got the Duke Blue Devils versus the Troy Trojans. Very, very interesting pick. I think we had touched on it a little bit last week. Trent, you had mentioned about Duke being an underdog, even though having a very successful, decently successful season. Duke is +4.5 as a dog. I'll start this one off here, just kind of mix it up a little bit. I'm still going to go with Duke at +4.5. I think. Man, I don't know. Does anybody know this could actually change my pick? Is Duke's coach coaching in it?
No.
No, he's leaving for.
He's gone.
A&M, right?
He's gone.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, he's gone. He ain't coaching him in the bowl game.
I'm still gonna go Duke. I'm going Duke here, +4.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the opposite of you, Tyler. I know Riley Leonard's probably the biggest name missing from this game besides their coach, and I think it's just a big hurdle to overcome. And to me, 4.5 points just isn't enough, especially with all of Troy's players kind of playing in this game. So, and Troy's not a pushover team at all. So I'm going to go the lack of superstar quarterback and the lack of leadership at the coaching aspect. I'm going to go with Troy.
Okay, it's not a bad pick because Troy does play teams tough. Trent, who you got?
Hurts me to say it, but I got Troy 4.5 for sure. I think. I mean, it's tough to tell. Like, you guys see it in the NFL when you get a coaching change. Sometimes those teams in the NFL play a little extra fire, or all of a sudden they start playing good football, and it's like, oh, see, getting rid of the coach is a good thing. But Elko, he had that Duke football team. It's a shame to see him go. because he actually turned Duke football team into a respectable house name now in the ACC, which once again is no longer a Power 5 conference, but they were still good, and I think honestly their season literally was the Notre Dame game decision to punt rather than just go for it away from being a completely different year. Potentially playing the ACC championship if they win that game.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
And Leonard doesn't get hurt, obviously, which he wouldn't have because he wouldn't have been having to try to throw a Hail Mary at the end of the game there. Instead, he would have been taking knees. So
that's a good point.
I'm on Troy though. I'm on Troy, guys.
All right, Troy, and Duke. All right, next up we have the Armed Forces Bowl. Air Force versus James Madison.
I feel kind of like a.
What's the line, Tyler?
So Air Force is plus 4.5.
I feel kind of awful saying this about an Armed Forces Bowl, but I'm picking against Air Force in this one. I know there's a coaching change down there in JMU. James Madison, head coach, left. But I think JMU didn't see quite the mass exodus considering they're still smaller school. I mean, I say smaller, like compared to the big house, Power 5 names. But I'm going JMU here, minus 4.5.
All right, Trey, who you got?
Well, first, I'd just like to say I'm so glad to see JMU make a bowl game.
Yeah.
I'm glad there weren't enough 500 teams where they were able to put them in and kind of give them a deserved opportunity at a postseason game. Mm-hmm. That being said, with it being the Armed Forces Bowl, Lockheed Martin, that's a big governmental defensive contract company, so they got to represent. I think them getting 4.5 points, that's what's going to do it for me. So I'm going to go Air Force plus 4.5. I do think JMU wins the game, though. I think they pull it out, but I just like getting the points there, especially in the Armed Forces Bowl.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting because Air Force is tough.
Discipline.
They're disciplined, obviously, and just the way that they, their offense operates. They're a tough team. I mean, you go back to James Madison's only loss this year was against Appalachian State, which I don't want to say I saw coming, just because of all the hype around it and game day being there. There was just a lot of things going on. I felt like it was just a little bit too much. So I kind of did see that coming with Appalachian State. Again, there's a lot of hype here around this game as well. I am still gonna go with James Madison though, being at minus 4.5. So tough. I mean, when you look at it, looking at the public, 30% picked Air Force, 70% picked JMU. I think everybody's riding the coattails of 11-1. So kind of tough to pick against that, but. All right, it's Trey, Air Force, me and Trent, James Madison. All right, next we have the Idaho Potato Bowl. You like it?
Was that supposed to be an Irish accent?
It might have been. Maybe.
It was pretty bad. It was very bad.
I don't know. I just kind of felt it.
I think it was an Idaho accent, Trey.
Hopefully this game isn't a spud.
Oh, boy.
Like a dud.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes, we get it. But when you have to explain it that much, oof.
I heard there's going to be a lot of Frenchmen in the crowd.
Oh, boy. All right, we're going to move on. I'm going to give my pick here first because I do think that Georgia State is going to mash them. I'm going Georgia State. Sorry, we got Utah State versus Georgia State. Utah State is plus 3.5. Georgia State's minus 3.5. My pick is Georgia State here.
I'm piggybacking you, Tyler. I'm also going Georgia State.
Make that a clean sweep. Georgia State Panthers minus 3.5.
The trifecta. All right, moving to the Ventures Bowl. We got Eastern Michigan versus South Alabama. Eastern Michigan is plus 13.5 against South Alabama.
So being the MAC guy that I am, I was absolutely surprised to see that Eastern Michigan was bowl eligible at 6-6. I actually thought they were horrible this year. Great team to fade. struggle to score in the MAC. And I think South Alabama is going to actually blow them out. Hence, with the spread being minus 13.5, I think they cover that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Trent. I don't know. College football, I'm not good with the smaller conference, smaller like teams. I don't really pay attention to them as much. But I do know the one team I did pay attention to is South Alabama. And them getting, I think they can win the game by 2 touchdowns. So I like the number at 13.5 exactly. So I'm also going to go with South Alabama.
All right. Well, I will be the different one here. I am actually going to go with Eastern Michigan out of respect for Jimmy Garoppolo and another one of Eastern Michigan's finest, Max Crosby. So I am going with, is that Eastern Michigan or is that Eastern Illinois?
Yeah, you're wrong.
Did I mess him up?
Max Crosby went to Eastern Michigan.
That's right. Jimmy G was Eastern Illinois. My bad. But yes, I'm going to go.
Do you want to remake your pick or
no? Because Max Crosby's a beast. So I'm taking Eastern Michigan plus 13.5.
Yeah, I mean this has got to be one of the more lopsided games, bowl games, right? Matchups, because you rarely see double-digit spreads, let alone 13.5, in bowl games, because I feel like they usually try to match them up, but getting 13.5 points in bowl games is pretty tough.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
Yeah. Although, what was it? What was that first game? The freaking ODU game.
Yeah.
28-0, and then all of a sudden lost 38-35. Like.
Yeah, that might be one of the worst melt jobs ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, MJ.
Yeah.
What melt job?
Well, it was a pretty bad MJ. All right, here we go. Next, we got the Las Vegas Bowl. We got Northwestern versus Utah. And real quick before I even give the spread here on this stuff, but are you guys as surprised as I was the fact that Northwestern was able to win 7 games this year after all the turmoil right before the season started? Coaching-wise.
I mean, more power to them. Yeah, they had a lot of adversity to overcome this year. Granted, I mean, I don't know, were any of these players there for that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it's been under Fitzgerald. If you got a senior in there, I'm sure they're experiencing some sort of whatever would they say, alleged hazing that there might have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I think they were put in a tough situation, like you said, Ty, going into the beginning of the season, which once again Fitzgerald, just like many other guys that have scandals or whatever happen, he'll be a head coach again here. If not next year, the following. Be pretty quick.
Nick Saban will hire him for a year first.
I was just gonna say it. He'll be some sort of position on Saban staff, and then he'll be hired in no time. I would say keep an eye out. Here's a program. Ready for this? Although it'd be kind of comical because right now they're getting criticized for culture. I could see him going to Florida if the guy down there in Florida doesn't make it through this year, because they're pretty much a disaster by the end of the year. But I am actually going to fade Northwestern in this case. I like Utah in this. I think the Pac-12 was better than this middle of the pack Big Ten this year type teams. So Utah had some tough teams that they had to battle, which resulted in them being 8-4. So I'm going Utah Utes, relying on their defense, being able to score, probably win by about 12 to 13 points.
Trey, who you got?
Well, can you say the spread one more time, Tyler?
Minus 9.5, Trey.
You said 7.5?
9.5.
9.5.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my gosh.
Man. That's tough because Utah does have a lot of players in the transfer portal. Man, but I just don't think Northwestern can do it. So, I'm also going to go 9.5 Utah.
Yeah, let's make that a clean sweep. I'm also on Utah. Utah's tough. I know they lost a couple games, but I'm going Utah. I don't think Northwestern even gets close in this game. I think Utah puts it on them a little bit.
You want to talk about 9-year quarterbacks? About Cam Rising coming back next year again.
Yeah,
darn right. Yeah.
Gee, that's wild.
Yeah, I think Like, I'm happy for that, though. I like watching that guy play.
Do you think, how old is he? He's got to be like 25, 26, right?
Definitely.
It is
Definitely.
weird to me when you hear some of those things about ages with the guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been in the NFL and he's 24, and this guy's coming out of college. He's 27. Like, what?
Yeah.
He's already played 3 years in the NFL. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, exactly. He's younger.
Right.
That's crazy.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's where you get into the red shirts and everything else. But it is interesting.
The whole COVID years really threw off the whole eligibility, I think, for the whole NCAA, especially football.
How many more years do you have of that? Like what, 2?
I don't know. It seems like it's been going on for like 5 years.
This should be it. I mean,
I think you got one more after this, Trent.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I know we get off on tangents with this, but that whole COVID year and this transfer portal has just made college sports very difficult for I would say high school kids getting into college.
Yeah.
I mean, and playing. I mean, look at SMU's coach just quoted the other day saying, "Hey, he's at a high school camp, high school combine, tells them." Our team, we're only offering 7 high school guys scholarships,
Wow.
meaning upcoming freshmen. Because everybody else is coming from the transfer portal.
Wow.
So, yeah, 7.
And probably not a lot of skill guys either. You got to be like top tier to be a skill guy to get a scholarship, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be top tier as a lineman though too, because those are guys that usually take a little development. I mean, you got guys like the number 1 offensive lineman in the country 2 years ago coming out, and he still hasn't started for Wisconsin, the Rucci kid. So interesting to see. But
and Trey, I think to your point with that too, with the transfer portal stuff, and then we'll get back into the picks here, but is you kind of look at it in the sense of like you said about skill guys. Is there's not a lot of skill guys that'll just wait around as like a backup wide receiver or a backup running back. If they see the grass is greener at maybe a smaller university, they're gonna take it. I mean, look at some of the FCS schools too. Some of the talent there started at your bigger name schools, and then finished at these FCS schools because they got an opportunity to play. It's still good football.
I feel like it's a trend where they go to a big school initially because I'm sure they have high hopes, high expectations. You're right, Tyler. They don't play as much, or they aren't as much of a contributor. So what do? They go to a smaller name school, get a ton of playing time, experience, develop a little bit, and then they transfer back to a big school and they're stars. So It's like, I don't know. It's just hard to follow, and it really is like a free agency now. And I think you see that actually more in college basketball. You get bench players of these huge blue bloods or like competitive D1 schools, and then they go to like Bellarmine and they tear it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love it. But
all right, jump back in here. We got the Hawaii Bowl is next. We got San Jose State and Coastal Carolina. San Jose State is -7.5. Coastal Carolina sitting at +7.5.
This is a tough one because I would be totally an opposite of my pick, but I'm elsewhere. But go ahead, Trey.
I'm gonna go with Coastal Carolina. Or I'm sorry. Whoa. Rewind that. I'm gonna go with San Jose State. Actually, Coastal's losing pretty much their whole starting lineup to the transfer portal on both sides of the ball. San Jose State's not. And I think, like I said, like when you have new players that don't have any experience playing in a postseason game against the school that has all the experience and none of their players are sitting out, then I think it's a big advantage. So I'm going to go with San Jose State.
Yeah, I'm with you. Quarterback, can't believe I thought this year for what's his name, McCray, quarterback. McCall, that's right. He entered the transfer portal last year, returned home to Myrtle Beach. As soon as their season's done this year, he's out. So it's like, what the heck? I thought he was done, but I guess he's got a year left. But yeah, I mean, just simply that team, even if they had their starters besides their quarterback, I still would be on San Jose State. They are a completely different team without McCall. So I'm going San Jose -7.5.
All right, I'm a little bit different. I'm going Coastal +7.5. I think it's a steep line. So I'm going with Coastal. I've followed them a little bit this year, where they can come in surprise teams. So that's what I'm relying on, especially getting a touchdown and a half on it. So that's where I'm at.
Do you think, Tyler, that they over handicapped it? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think that, very similarly to, say, like an Appalachian State, I feel like the kids there are tough. And I feel like they always give good games. I kind of, I don't know, for whatever reason, I kind of put like JMU, App State, and Coastal Carolina kind of in like this weird tier of like teams where
all the same conference.
No, but I'm saying like they're just like three. But I'm saying like there are three teams that I always look at like, and I just feel like they always play tough. Like they're rarely going to get.
So you're betting on the culture rather than the players.
Yeah, essentially.
Tom, I think you just have a former FCS bias.
Maybe. I don't know.
All three of them are pretty recent teams to transition to FBS.
Yeah. And all have been pretty successful.
Yep, I would agree. They're good quality.
Did you see in the last 10 seasons, with like the most wins in programs for the last 10 seasons, it's like obviously like Georgia, Alabama, like all those like crazy named schools, and then guess who's in the mix? Appalachian State. No, Appalachian State.
Really?
And Boise State.
Really?
Those two kind of stood out, and I was like, it's interesting to see those schools up there with the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world.
Remember for years there, Boise was top 10 like every year.
Oh yeah. Hey, who was their quarterback? Oh my gosh.
Offensive coordinator for the
Cowboys?
Yeah, he's for the Chargers now. That's that's who it was when they pulled it off. I believe, wasn't he the quarterback when they ran the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't their quarterback then. It was after that. I'm sorry.
That was an amazing bowl game.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it like 3 overtimes and they ran that play or something?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. Yeah. The crazy thing is, I was watching that with Dad when I was a kid, and when Oklahoma came back and tied it, he literally got so mad he changed the channel.
Oh man.
I'm not watching it. And then I'm like, hey, let's turn it back on just to see. And it started, Trey. Don't forget that comeback started with the hook and ladder.
Yeah.
The hook and ladder to score, and then they go for 2 with the Statue of Liberty play to win it.
So they also had a really good running back there that played in the NFL.
Well, the running back at that time was just known for proposing to his girlfriend afterwards. So
no, there was a big name NFL running back.
All right. Well, let's move that. We'll get the stat guys on that so you can let us know. Next, we have the Quick Lane Bowl. We got Minnesota and Bowling Green. Minnesota is -5.5. I'll start it off here. I'm going Minnesota. I think it'll be, I don't want to say a low-scoring game, but Minnesota is usually low-scoring games, but I think their defense is usually pretty tough. I'm going with Minnesota, -5.5.
I hear you about Minnesota's defense, but I honestly, the thing about Bowling Green is they can run the football, and I think they're going to have success running the football. Minnesota is struggling to get their starting quarterback to play in the bowl game. Rumor is they're having to pay him an outrageous amount of money to actually play in it rather than opt out of it.
Yeah.
Which, once again, quarterback, I don't know his name, so I don't know why he's opting out. But I'm on Bowling Green +5.5. I think they're going to control the clock, and they're going to end up being able to score more points than Minnesota,
okay,
and win the game outright.
All right, here we go.
Wow.
Not just cover.
Yeah, this one's kind of like an iffy game for me. So when I'm in doubt, I'm in between things, I always take the points. So I'm also going to go Bowling Green +5.5.
All right, we still got quite a few here. First Responder Bowl, we got Rice, North Texas. Give me your pick, and then we'll move to the next one.
Before we before you get on to our picks,
it's Texas State. Texas State.
What did I say?
North Texas. I got Texas State -6.5.
I'm also on Texas State -6.5.
Rice
I think that
quarterback
that 3.
out with concussions for his career, so he's JT McDaniels.
Who's the running back?
I think that Stat Guys just got back to me. They actually had 2 very prominent running backs. The one that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
The other one is Doug Martin, also Hampshire.
Interesting.
Hampshire. I forgot about him.
All right. Guaranteed rate bowl. We got UNLV versus Kansas. UNLV is +12.5. Kansas -12.5.
Oh man. This is a tough one for me because I actually liked betting on Kansas all year. 12.5 is too steep. Not going to be their typical starting quarterback. They just lost their offensive coordinator, so I'm going with UNLV +12.5.
Yeah. Like Trent said, I mean, 12.5 is steep. I feel like bowl games are always tight for the most part, or they end up being tight no matter what the score is during the game. But the offensive coordinator thing doesn't really scare me as much because I feel like there's got to be some guys that are waiting for their opportunity that are going to draw up some crazy plays and really try to put together a good offensive scheme. So I'm going to go Kansas -12.5.
Man, implement a brand new scheme for one game in the season.
Not a scheme, but like just like a different flow to the game. You know what I mean? I just think, with a new quarterback, like you said, and a new offensive coordinator, what do you got to lose? It's one postseason game.
I'm on Kansas too, Trey. So
I'll beer bet you guys on that one.
No,
Nah, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one I was gonna beer bet you guys. I forget which one it was.
That's fine.
All right. Military Bowl. We got Tulane. Who's that, Trent? Who do we have? Tulane. We got Tulane and Virginia Tech. Tulane is +4.5. Virginia Tech -4.5.
Oh man.
I'll go ahead here. I'm going Tulane +4.5.
I'm gonna go the opposite of it here, Tyler. I'm gonna take Virginia Tech -4.5. Tulane's Carson Haggard, transfer portal. Also one of the best names in college football, Fat Watts, is transferring as well, wide receiver for them. So I think Virginia Tech, they're going to get it done. I'm going to go with -4.5.
Okay.
I'm going to go Green Wave 2 years in a row, major bowl game win, +4.5.
All right, everybody's favorite shower bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Interestingly enough, we got West Virginia, North Carolina. Trent, I know I did mention this to you, but I don't know if you guys remember at the beginning of the year when we made some picks and stuff and who's going to be successful. West Virginia was picked and finished dead last. They finished 8-4. So just like to toot my own horn that I did predict them to be decent this year. But
hey, Ty, you had a heck of a year with West Virginia. You said they were going to be good in football. You said they were going to be a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament. So, damn,
toughest 16 seed ever.
Yep, I know. That being said, I think North Carolina, even with all the things that they're missing, I still think that they're going to cover 3.5. This could be one of those weird spread games, and West Virginia might win by like 1 or 2. But I think Carolina's going to cover 3.5.
Yeah, I think Carolina, their next year's recruits are actually having to play in this game because everyone left.
Yeah.
I think 3.5 isn't enough of a cushion to give them, especially with an almost fully playing West Virginia team that, like you said, Tyler, overperformed. They have a chip on their shoulder. UNC does not look like that team at all. So I'm going to go West Virginia -3.5.
Okay. Trent?
I'm on West Virginia -3.5.
Okay.
Brand new team. Yeah, you're right, Trey.
All right, next we got the Holiday Bowl. Where you got everybody sitting out for USC. You got USC versus Louisville. USC is plus 6.5.
I got Louisville minus 6.5. Louisville will run the ball all over USC's defense.
Trey?
Yeah, I don't.
Control the clock, run the ball, keep the ball out of the hands of their explosive offense, who's missing everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop on that too. I'm gonna go to Louisville. It's tough though because my heart wants to pick USC because I just feel like even with everyone sitting out, they have so much talent at that school. Like just like skill player wise, offensive line, defensive lines. But I just think that's too much to overcome in 1 week or a couple weeks.
All right, three's a crowd here. Louisville trifecta. That's my pick.
Yeah.
All right, next we got the Texas Bowl. We got Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. Oklahoma State is plus 4.5.
I got Oklahoma State.
Yep, I'm with them. I'm on that too.
All right, that's another 1-1 here. I'm also Oklahoma State.
Yeah, everybody and their mother left A&M.
Why like I couldn't figure out why Oklahoma State's a dog. I don't get it. I don't know.
I just feel like college football has such high expectations for A&M all the time.
All the time.
And they
have so much money.
They do have so much money. You're right, but they're not. They haven't. I mean, look at the amount of talent that just decided to leave there since Jimbo got let go. Yeah. I mean, heck, look how much Jimbo's getting paid to be out of there too. So
yeah,
I got to say, I feel like the tides are slowly turning. Where Texas for a couple of years was like, oh, they're back, they're gonna be so good, blah blah blah. They have this great coach, and then they suck. They fire their coach. It's the same thing every year. I feel like Texas A&M is slowly taking over that role from Texas. Where they have all these recruits, they get all these big name coaches, and they just never follow through with it.
Yeah.
I would agree.
All right, next we got the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Wasabi. We got Boston College plus 9.5 and SMU minus 9.5.
It's an interesting sponsor for Fenway, huh?
Wasabi. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing much you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got myself up there.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said nothing much you. You said
that was stupid.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm on the Mustangs minus 9.5.
Drake?
Points, and more points, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop on that too. The Mustangs for me.
All right.
Boston College, they lost a lot of players.
Soon to be ACC.
Let's make it 3. I'm also on SMU. All right. Next we got the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. You got Miami versus Rutgers. Miami is minus 4.5.
Miami, rightfully so, talent-wise, should be the favorite. But I'd give that head coach, Schiano, maybe I give him too much credit. But I think for a one-game season now, because that's what it's down to, I think he's going to be able to draw up a game plan to contain the run game of Miami. Past game of Miami, I don't really know because Van Dyke transferred.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like, I mean, they have a freshman running back down there in Miami who's very Derrick Henry like in terms of massive size, and he's good. But
is he playing?
I would think he's only a freshman. He's not
is he not transferring though?
I don't think so.
It's not Cheney, is it?
Nah, I can't think of his name, but I'm going Rutgers. I'm going Rutgers plus 4.5.
I'm also Rutgers plus 4.5. Same reasons Trent Schiano, I think, does have the guys playing. I think his teams play tough. I think he gets low scoring games at times, and I feel like that's to a disadvantage for Miami. So
yeah, make that 3 for the exact same reasons too. Schiano and Tyler Van Dykeless, Miami.
Hate being Dykeless. Van Dykeless.
Yeah. Can't stop the water.
Right. Oh, that's very sciencey of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Van Dykeless. All right. Next, we have the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We got Kansas State.
Trey, compose yourself.
I know. This reminds me of my childhood dinners.
I was going to say, essential food group. Mom, what do we have in bagels and Pop-Tarts? No.
We got
Eat a vegetable, damn it.
Kansas State versus NC State. Kansas State is -4.5.
I am going with the football school, NC State. Quarterback. Yes, football school. They are more of a football school. Remember that was after they won their big game this year, and head coach said, "Tell Steve Smith to shut his mouth" or whatnot. This ain't no basketball school. And so I'm going NC State here, plus being given points. Kansas State lost their starting quarterback, transfer portal, and he's their offense, man. He's a run pass quarterback. Whole entire offense is based on the power run scheme where they can actually run their quarterback. So give me NC State.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Trent. For me, it's hard for me to pick a team to win against the spread if your starting quarterback isn't playing. That's played all year. So very rarely will I bet on that team. So that's why I'm also going NC State.
Okay. I'm also NC State in this game, especially like you said, getting points. I'm all for that. So NC State, man, I'll tell you what, we've had a lot of the same picks here last 5.
I know.
Well, I think our hands are kind of forced. Don't you guys agree with like all the transfers?
Yeah, at times. Last one we have here for that we'll be picking until next week's episode. We got the Alamo Bowl. Just make sure you guys remember it. It's Oklahoma versus Arizona. Oklahoma is +1.5.
Yeah, I think Arizona is one of the best three-loss teams in the country towards the end of the year. With Gabriel is not playing in this game, he's in the transfer portal as well. So, as I just said previously, it's hard for me to bet on a team.
He's no longer in the portal. He landed at Oregon.
Okay, well, yeah, either way.
I just wanted to break that news in case listeners.
Which is crazy that he already made up his mind. I think Riley Leonard did too, actually, right?
Yep, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, yeah. But no, that being said, I think, like I said, Arizona has been one of the hotter teams down the stretch of the season. Not really losing many people, just a couple people in their secondary. So I'm going to go the Wildcats -1.5.
Okay.
Yep. I got Arizona -1.5 as well. New offensive coordinator in Oklahoma, and no quarterback. So I think that's a disaster.
Yeah, I'm also Arizona -1.5 because Trey, I do agree. I think they ended hot, to finish the season off. So that's where I'm at. All right, that's it. That is the last game that we're gonna pick for this round. We'll be starting next Thursday night. Friday morning when you guys would listen, we'll end up starting with the Kentucky Clemson game. That'll be our first pick next week. So, all right. You guys thirsty?
Oh, can we vent about something real quick with college football?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is the NCAA just trying to not let Michigan win?
I know. I saw new allegations.
No, it's not new. It's the same damn thing about him potentially illegally talking with recruits during COVID. But, Trey, you made the point just now. The fact that Riley Leonard knew already he was going to Notre Dame, the fact that Dylan Gabriel pretty much entered the transfer portal and committed to Oregon a couple days later. You tell me that these teams they don't have somebody in social media or somebody somewhere that is actively recruiting these kids in season right now. And that is what's the term for like when professional team
tampering.
Tampering, that's what I was looking for. Tell me that's not tampering mid-season. Like if you investigate that crap, guarantee you're going to find it. So I just want to say with the Jim Harbaugh stuff now saying, oh, he kind of lied that he didn't buy the cheeseburger for the kid when it was like COVID rules and blah, blah, blah. Like, just shut up. You're paying these athletes now how much money? They're pretty much professionals. You don't have amateur status anymore, correct?
Correct.
So it's like okay, the guy had a conversation with him. Like what's the point of a dead period anymore? I'm not quite sure. Yep. Does a dead period make it easier or more competitive for smaller schools to get in the mix? Like bull crap. Like it's you lost control. You made the mess. Stop trying to throw your power around.
Yep,
because you are the most corrupt organization in all of sports right now, in my opinion. NCAA, that is.
Ooh, PGA Tour's up there too.
Okay, I agree, but let's be real. More people pay attention to
most organizations.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, if you're an organization, you're probably corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I totally agree with that, Trent. I saw it come out today. I was like, you kidding me? Like, you're just going to try to rise something else up now that he served his games and everything else? It's like, all right.
Yeah, and Trent, you're exactly right. Like, whether or not it's their agent, the player's, like, quote-unquote agent, because I don't know if they're allowed to have them technically, but someone is under the table making deals or verbal agreements definitely before the season's over, whether it comes to NIL deals or just agreements of where they're going to play, too. So, and I think they're coming after Harbaugh because he's a huge advocate on giving back to the players.
Yep, I agree.
And the NCAA does not like that. And when you try to cause waves like that, they're gonna get you one way or another. And I think they're taking it out on Harbaugh.
They're trying to make him an example.
I just think they're trying to make it hard on him. They're trying to tie his hands, make him tiptoe around these stupid rules that they pick and choose when they want to follow. Yep, it sounds like so.
Trey, they're trying to make life as miserable as possible. So he says, "Screw it, I'm packing my things and going to the NFL." Because, and don't get me wrong, I loved Chip Kelly's speech the other week. I think it was this past week, and I loved his idea of how to fix the game of college football. But in reality, when it comes,
what was his idea?
Well, when it comes to actually fixing college football in itself and this whole NIL thing, Jim Harbaugh is he's the lead man on saying, collective bargaining, union, get a commissioner, things on those lines. So that's my 2 cents. You're right. They're just trying to make life miserable enough because they're like, hey, this guy could really screw us NCAA cronies out of a lot of money because right now they're so stupid. Now they're finally waking up. Oh, crap. Get them out of here.
Yep.
So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if anybody else watched. I watched it once. Chip Kelly proposed the idea of essentially making all the Power 5, so eliminating the big conferences is what he said.
He's a listener.
I was going to say, is this Chip Kelly's idea or Trey's idea?
So I think he said something on the lines of like having like 64 or 65 teams that are all the FBS Power 5 schools, right? And then what they would do is they would play a schedule of playing those teams. But now they would be playing teams on similar coasts and similar regions of the country. Okay? Kind of similar in the sense of what the NFL does with 2 conferences, NFC, AFC. And then he talked about having a crossover between the Power 5 teams playing some of the I guess you call it mid-majors in college football, but you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
I recommend if you haven't listened to it, I'm trying to summarize it off of listening to it.
That's essentially what That's essentially what we said at the beginning of the year. My idea was you have like 3 to 5 tiers, and those tiers put the predominant of their schedule is against their own tier, and then they mix in some lower, like one step below tiers, and then the bottom 5 or 7 they drop, and the top 5 or 7 go up to the next one.
Yeah. So he pretty much used
relegated.
He used two tiers, and his whole entire purpose was so that way the crossover that you're talking about. His example, I think, was that way the Pac-12 can still play some of these Mountain West teams where you have a couple like rivalries between teams there.
Right.
And he was just super disappointed because, you know, when he talks about like there's teams out here on the West Coast that needs to be like, I can't remember the name of the school, but it was a California team. He's like, they need to be playing Arizona. Like that needs to happen. And now that we're losing this, like these West Coast teams are going to be playing East Coast teams, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it's weird, but
what about the Premier League or the soccer in Europe? Like, structure it like that. Do something. Eliminate these stupid conferences that have names that are so irrelevant to them now.
Yeah.
You're not the Atlantic Coast Conference when you have Arizona and Arizona State playing or something like.
No, it's going to be Stanford.
Yeah,
well, Stanford and Cal, right?
And the Big Ten.
Yeah.
How's SMU an ACC team?
Don't know.
All right, let's get to drinking.
All right. So we got our second brew view that we're going to be doing here, Bearded Baker Brewview. As we continue this Advent season here, the brew view that we're going to be doing here tonight is a beer called Turtle Dreams. All right, Turtle Dreams is from First State Brewing Company. It's a 6% beer. It's a tropical sour. It's got some cashmere, Idaho gem hops mixed with some peach, passion fruit, and guava. I'll tell you one thing. When I first just cracked this open here, didn't get a whole lot of sour. Really definitely tasted a lot more, almost like a cider to me. Even looking at it too, I mean, I know looking at some of the stuff on the can, it talks about lactose and all these other different things, but I don't know. I don't get a whole lot of sour. I was expecting this to really kind of give me heartburn to the extreme. But no, I don't mind it. I actually rather enjoy it. So cool can art. Little sleeping turtle. Cool.
Before we get too far into this review, we might have to put an X-rated warning before Trent speaks, just so you know.
I know.
Oh yeah, okay. No, yeah, I'm kind of with you on it. I definitely do taste the sour though, because I burp and I get a little heartburn here and there. But it's not
a bunch of old men. Oh,
well, yeah.
Gave me heartburn.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. The amount of anti-heartburn meds I take is pretty stunning nowadays.
Anti-heartburn. It's
anti-inflammatory. That's what you're looking for.
Well, yeah, same thing. Whatever. Anti-reflux.
But do you get sour though? Like I don't.
Yeah, I definitely do get sour. But what I think is it's cut. There's almost like a creaminess to it too, and I think that's from the peach. And I think that's kind of what cuts the sour. Oh yeah, or the lactose. Yeah, exactly.
That's probably,
I think that kind of cuts the sour out of it a lot, and I think it's helping it become more drinkable. But I like a nice 6% sour beer.
Yeah.
It's full of flavor. It pours nice. It looks good in the glass. The can itself is very like eye appealing. I like the iridescent turtle that's actually dreaming, like the beer is named. Also, I know Trent mentioned it before we podcasted, but a lot of details regarding the beer on the label too, which I love. I love just knowing everything I can about it. So
yep, for sure. Yeah. Trent, thoughts?
Well, I was really hoping.
Trent is speaking with his beer review. Just kidding, guys.
Anyone under the age of 18,
please turn off now.
I'll tell you what. I was really hoping this beer would help me come out of my shell.
Ooh.
But I can't disagree with you guys more on the lack of sour or not too sour. It's 100% sour. Every single time I try to take a swig of this thing, my entire bottom, my jawline goes numb and tingly.
Really?
Because of how sour it is. I
love that.
I can't even, this isn't one that you can, hammer away and put down because of the sourness. You're right on the look, Ty, when you look at it, when I have it poured in a glass. It doesn't look like a sour would typically. Sometimes they have some weird color, maybe a little fogginess to it, haziness if you so. But I mean, it's not my typical type of beer, so I don't mind trying new things. But In terms of not overly sweet, I would agree, but in terms of not overly sour, I would disagree. I think this is extremely sour, almost to the point where I don't get enough of the actual flavor profile because the sour overpowers it for me.
Interesting.
But I do love the cute little turtle sleeping on the print cover.
I'll tell you what. We'll go around and list it, but I'll give it a 3.3 out of 5 mugs.
Yeah, I'm Trey. I would say 3-4. I'm a 3-4 mugs.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not a sour guy, but it's drinkable. It honestly, it really reminds me of a cider. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go 3.14, 333 repeating. Yep.
Did you just give us pie?
Yes,
No.
I did.
Pie isn't it?
Nah, it's not 3 repeating, but 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Got me heated there for a little bit.
He's like, no, it's not pie. This is what pie is. Whoa.
You're giving me heartburn by saying that, Tyler.
Oh, shut up. You don't get heartburn, Trent?
Heartburn?
No, I don't.
God,
All right,
it's so bad now.
Hey, let's move into everyone's favorite, the NFL. We are coming down to the wire here.
Is it really our favorite, though, Ty? Is it really our favorite?
It's the public's favorite, I would say.
Public's favorite. I'll give you that. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a blast this season.
Oh, shut up.
Quit gloating.
I can tell by all the every day I get 16 49ers tweets sent to you or sent from you to me.
Dude, what a team, man! They're just a great team. All right,
like,
so listen,
it's a super team.
Trey, did you see the video of the one water person handing the water bottle to the player? What good teamwork! They're such good teammates.
Oh my God, they huddle for every play.
Yeah, I saw one guy give another guy a high five.
Wow,
it was so. It's just Kyle Shanahan's culture.
Green is not your color.
Brock Purdy's so cute.
Green is not your color.
Brock Purdy's so cute. Go on, Ty. Have a little fun.
No, we're fine. No, so we do have a lot of games here. We actually have 2 Saturday games this time around. A bunch, obviously, on Christmas Eve. And then we really get to celebrate with, in my opinion, I think 3 really good games or interesting games on Christmas Day.
What are those, Ty? Could you rattle those off for us?
The Christmas Day games?
Yeah.
So the 1 o'clock game is the Raiders and Chiefs.
That's going to be horrible. That's a bloodbath.
Well,
I'm sorry, but yeah.
Let's hope
sucks.
not. It is at Arrowhead Stadium. Then you got the Giants and the Eagles. And we round out the night with the Niners and the Ravens. So definitely, I don't know. I hope they're competitive games. So, but we'll get into some of that then. Yeah, Saturday games. You start off with the Bengals and the Steelers, which who the hell knows what's going to happen in that game. Browning doesn't look like a bad quarterback with the Bengals. And then the Bills and Chargers. Really feel like the Bills should really hand it to them. Bills are kind of coming into their own, like I know we talked about last week. Almost, I don't want to say cakewalk, but cakewalk game on Saturday night.
You got to be careful, though.
I was going to say, it's kind of trappy. It's kind of trappy.
I'm not touching that 11.5. I'll just tell you that much.
No. Yeah.
Not at all.
No, I wouldn't either. So, now, any bets here, guys? Any input on some of the stuff? I mean,
well, before we get bets, can we reflect a little bit on this week? And,
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it goes back to what I brought up last week. Eagles in trouble or panic or what the hell? Like, you guys know, leading into this week, I think the rumors, I don't think they hold a lot of truth to it, but the supposed A.J. Brown going to talk to Sirianni, worrying about, turning the ball over. But then again, end of the game, you could probably take like a 8 to 10 yard check down or throw.
Dude, they had 2 timeouts.
Yeah, and you're in Elliott, who's Mr. Clutch, big foot, and he chucks that thing up on a 50-50 ball and it gets picked off.
Yeah.
I mean, he's having a horrible now. Hey, they're still 10-4, correct?
Yeah.
And he's still like fourth in MVP votes, which is an absolute joke.
But 10-4, and there still aren't many teams that are better than the Eagles in the NFC. I mean, nobody's going to go into Philadelphia and knock them out in the playoffs. They're going to get knocked out when they have to go to Santa Clara and play the Niners.
I don't know, man. If depending on who they get matched up with, I mean.
Well, Trent, I was going to say, are they ever going to get to play in Philly in the playoffs if they're a wild card?
I don't think they'll be a wild card.
Right now, they're sitting at 5.
That's a wild card.
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, I'm on Dallas this weekend, but I just feel like Dallas is going to blow it. Eagles get to play the Giants 2 times in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's a they got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
and the Eagles do not. The Eagles do not look good. I'm sorry, they do not look good.
Okay.
They kind of look a little bit lost, to be honest with you.
They look like a team that teams figured out how to stop their offense, and they don't know how to adjust.
Yeah.
Not
and they tried it.
Yeah, but how often are you getting in? Like, if that's your only successful play, what are you offensively? I think
you're a rugby team.
Well, yeah.
That's good.
What it goes back to, though, is if you guys remember, Sirianni last year, Eagles, obviously very dominant. The year before that, they were okay. All right? They weren't great, but they were okay. And it boiled down to the fact where, and I remember talking about it, is Jalen Hurts did everything. He ran the ball, he scrambled, he threw the ball, he quarterbacks. Like, he literally that was it. And I think what you're getting back to is the fact of, you don't have Miles Sanders anymore. You do have DeAndre Swift, who I feel like is a very good back, very similar to a Miles Sanders. But I think what you're getting into here is you're going back to the fact that Jalen Hurts is doing everything. Whether it's by coaching choice or whether it's by his choice of just not being able to make the right reads quick enough. Maybe his guys aren't getting open. They have a hell of a lot of talent on the outside.
Yeah.
Wide receivers and tight ends. And they have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Like, I don't understand it.
You want to talk all-star team? They have an all-star team.
They do.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, yes, they do, but don't sit there and try to take away from the 49ers' absolute super team that they built.
Not taken away from it. I'm just stating a fact.
But like I said, it goes back to the fact that you do have, like I said, arguably probably the best offensive line in the league, and you don't run the ball. You don't run the ball.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say at the beginning of the year, Swift had a couple 100-yard rushing games where they looked unstoppable. Because then when teams do, Tyler, they do have to load the box and they do have to stop the run game that's getting 6 and 7 yard chunks every time. That's when you throw the ball down the field to A.J. Brown, who just cakewalks in the end zone.
Right.
Or you can run these Devontae Smith streak routes there. He just is so much faster and can just run underneath the ball. But the thing I notice is it's not even that they don't run the ball anymore, but I feel like their plays it's QB sneak, inside run, or it's this Hail Mary, go for it all pass.
Yeah.
Like they don't have like intermediate routes, I feel like. They don't have like crossing routes that's catch and run. It's all throw the ball deep and try to get these big chunk plays, and I don't know, it's what it looks like. It looks like the opposite of the 49ers.
Well, and that's what when you said about these intermediate routes, like you look at some of the routes that Debo and Ayuk run. I mean, what?
That wasn't a joke, Trent. That was serious.
That was a total jab.
It was not a jab. That was not a jab. I give the 49ers credit. They run their offense well.
But to Trey's point, where they do take what the offense gives them. They do have McCaffrey leak out and run streaks down the field. They do have Kittle and Debo that run, dig routes in the middle of the field and then get another 20, yards after the catch. Like, I agree with Trey. Like, it does seem like an all or nothing kind of thing. And I think if you can contain Jalen Hurts, keep him in the pocket, and I think Nick Bosa talked about it when Dallas was playing the Eagles. He said, I hope they watch the film. I hope they learn to take away the B gaps. And I don't know. I mean, early on last game, Jalen Hurts looked like he was going to have a Michael Jordan flu game. Early on. And then all of a sudden it was like, what just happened? You know, and they forgot how to play football. But I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, and luckily they do have 3 more games to kind of get it together, and not necessarily difficult games to get it together before the playoffs. And you know, they could just get hot again at the right time. That's what happens. I mean, people go on runs. And
is playing a team like the Giants, is that going to prepare you for the playoffs though? Like,
it can help you make adjustments where it's not as.
They're called get-right games.
Yeah, and you can not test things out, but yeah, you can kind of trial some things, and if they go well, you're doing it against a team where you can make a mistake or two as you're trialing and still win. So
I think go ahead. Sorry.
I was say do that against a team like the Cowboys or the Niners. You need every possession you can get.
Right.
And
I think what's interesting this year too, like from a playoff standpoint, and I know Trent likes to dog the NFC a lot, but like I think you're going to see playoff pictures really not kind of come to fruition for a lot of the teams, at least from the wild card standpoint.
Oh man!
Until week 18.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna see things change drastically in these next 3 weeks here, especially in the wild card positions, because everybody's between like a 5-7 and like a 7-5, where 1 or 2 games might put you in, 1 or 2 games might take you out. You know.
Yeah. I also think you're going to see some pretty obscure tiebreakers might be being used too.
And that's kind of what I mean. Like you're going to see a lot of weird movement where it's going to be like, well, how does this team get in? What's this scenario?
Do you think the expansion of how many teams make it open the door for that though? Like all the weird tiebreakers that are going to come into play this year.
Well, what is it? They added 1 team,
yeah,
right?
But now that's a bigger deal than you think.
It is, absolutely.
It really is. But I don't know. I mean, let's just put it this way. There's a really good chance. I mean, can't you see a sub-500 team make it in the NFC? Like, there's a pretty good chance that happens.
Well, Trent, it's like you said earlier. I think it was like an episode or 2 ago. There's just so many good teams in the NFC. They just beat each other up.
I mean, honestly, I would say the weirdest playoff team right now is
suck.
The weirdest.
It is suck.
The weirdest thing to see is the Eagles in a wild card position.
We stopped betting against the Packers, and look what they do. They start losing.
Would you guys agree with that, though?
Okay, well, that was out of nowhere.
So,
Thanks.
I didn't like your NFC comments.
You just had to go right to the Packers, huh?
Yeah, because they do. They're
But hey, let's just really quick even just take a look at the AFC wild card picture. The 3 wild card teams are all missing their starting quarterback. You have Deshaun Watson with the Browns is out. They're number 5. You got Browning at the Bengals. Burrow's out.
Yeah.
And you got Gardner Minshew with the Colts. Richardson's out. Like, that's
interesting.
That's AFC.
Yeah, so Tyler, AFC, you're right, Tyler, right? AFC, that's where you're seeing 3 teams right there having to lose a franchise guy or their first overall pick guy is supposed to be, and they're still winning, aren't they, Ty?
Yeah, but Trent, I think top to bottom, like maybe the bottom is okay, but like the top of the NFC is like so dominant compared to your AFC.
That's not what I'm trying to make a point at. I'm not making a point at AFC, NFC here. You're seeing professional coaches still able to get their teams inspired to win and are prepared to win without one player. You know who didn't do that? Robert Saleh.
Oh my God.
You're
really going to do this again, huh?
I'm just saying, it's proof right there. He needs to go.
He does not need to go.
He needs to
and
go.
It would be a real shame if they did let him go.
Nope, get him out. Okay, Trey, will you at least admit that the Nate Hackett's awful? And the only reason he has a job is he's friends with Aaron Rodgers?
I could see that. I mean, I wasn't a fan of Nathaniel Hackett when he was at the Packers last year. I think their offense was
It wasn't at the Packers
atrocious.
last year. 2 years ago.
Or, yeah, you know what I meant, yeah. But, yeah, I think it was atrocious, and I think that's why they got rid of him.
No, he got a head coaching job. They didn't get rid of him. Packers
lost him. You're right.
Yeah, so exactly, once again.
But I still didn't think he was good. I'll give you that. They did not look.
He's not.
No, he's not.
He's not.
No, he's not, Trent.
They're gonna give Salah a chance with Rodgers, dude. They're not gonna fire him.
Exactly. You have to.
Disaster of a year.
Rodgers, I love Aaron Rodgers. I do. I really do. I enjoy. I think he's good entertainment. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. But 41-year-old coming off of an Achilles, which I know. Oh my God, he's a miraculous healer,
dude.
But I mean,
Tom Brady
I
won a
just
Super
think-
Bowl at 44.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, with him, I wouldn't. If I'm him looking at this team right now, I'm saying, "Holy shit, I'm going to get killed again back there."
They do. They have to get some offensive
Yeah,
linemen.
he's not
You're
going to
right.
play this year.
They're in some. I'm just saying. I know. I'm saying next year even. Like I don't. I think that's where we're going to see Salah. I don't think Salah gets a chance next year.
I don't know.
And that's a shame because you really should.
Debatable.
I would also, Trent, to your point about the coaching too. I would also argue too that some of these quarterbacks just need a shot. Like
Okay,
they just
they're giving Zach Wilson a shot.
no. I'm not talking about the Jets. Trent, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the Jets.
I mean.
I'm not talking about the Jets. I'm talking about Jake Browning with the Bengals. Looks all right. DeVito with the Giants. Looks all right. I mean, hell.
The coaching's there.
But
Those guys
I'm also
ready to play.
and okay, Gardner Minshew with the Colts.
Yep.
I mean,
Absolutely.
What'd you say about Drew Lock?
I would argue that Gardner
Agreed,
Minshew.
Trey.
Who, Trey?
I said, Drew. What about Drew Lock?
Nah, I think that was a fluke bullshit. I'm never gonna compliment the Seahawks.
I knew.
I was gonna say, that's so biased.
It
That's
is.
so biased.
I will never
Wow.
compliment the Seahawks. But no, hold on. But what I would argue that Gardner Minshew is the next generation of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He's just a competitor that wants to win.
And he does win.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Even the Raiders, after firing their coach and
Yeah.
relying on a former walk-on quarterback in college, the Raiders have a better record than the Jets.
Might be the
And
same.
they beat because the Jets are eliminated from playoff contention as a whole. The Raiders are not yet. So I'm just saying, and it's probably because the Raiders beat the Jets.
Raiders are
Maybe
6-8.
Yeah,
Jets are 5-9. So yes.
yeah. So that's what I'm getting. So like, I'm just telling you, like, that's how poor of a situation New York is. You could sit there and say, yeah, but they need to give him a chance with Rodgers. Give him a chance with Rodgers. I'm sorry, but
Hey, mocking
you're not winning right now with your
Kind
team
of
that
sounded
you
like
have.
you, Trey.
The more that they continue to struggle like they are these past 2 years, he is losing the locker room. That's all I'm going to say.
Why do you hate
Okay.
Robert Saleh so much?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
do.
know.
hate him.
I think I just hate the Jets. He's kind of smug. I don't know. He
He's
puts
not
off
smug.
vibes.
He's not smug. The
Puts
guy
off
like
smug
literally
vibes.
runs the stadium steps before every game.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he can't be smug, Ty. People work out and can still be smug. But I don't know. I've heard different things about him, but I'm just thinking. I think he's gone. I really do. With the number that Schefter put out there, which once again, if you heard Peyton Manning talk and Christian McCaffrey talk, Adam Schefter knows when players are moving and coaches are fired before they actually know themselves. Peyton Manning said Adam Schefter knew the Colts were releasing me before I knew. Christian McCaffrey said Adam Schefter knew he was traded before Christian McCaffrey agent even knew. So I'm just saying he knows something, and I think with that number that Adam Schefter put out there, I think Robert Saleh is going to be one of those guys that gets it's sorry, man, he's gone.
He had also mentioned too. You talk about Schefter. Schefter had also said something on McAfee the other day.
Trey, would you just admit that, like, hey, Trent, you were right on that call the whole time when it happens?
No.
Okay.
So hey,
I mean, you'll be right in the fact that he got fired, but you won't be right in the fact that he should have gotten fired because he shouldn't.
no, but what I was gonna say, Schefter said something on McAfee the other day. He talks about like the NFL script, and if you'd have seen McAfee's face, was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And about like scripting games and stuff like this. And it was very odd. If you can find that clip, check that out. It was on McAfee the other 2 days ago.
Schefter said that?
Schefter said, and he's like, hold on, I think Schefter, he's like, you're saying that the NFL has a script. He goes, well, obviously the NFL scripts games to see this success and this success and this success. And it was just very, I don't know. He really he doubled down on it.
Remember, the NFL is filed as a sports entertainment industry.
Yeah.
You know what else is filed as that?
WWE.
Okay, so
Jinx.
sorry. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Let me take my tin cap off. Tinfoil cap. Let's
tin
keep
cap.
going here. Can we talk about? You guys want to get into games, or is there?
Well, one other team I do want to talk about that I think is going to be a faker that I actually think should probably end up being a wild card team if they make it is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, wow.
I think the Colts are actually going to win that division. And I'll tell you what, man, if that actually occurs, I think you guys owe me some beers.
There's one thing I'd like to talk about.
Why?
Yeah, why do we never made a bet for the Colts?
No, I know we didn't, but
Just
no.
Just out of respect.
No, I picked the Jaguars. Shoot.
exactly.
All right. Never mind.
So,
The one thing I do want to talk about is
But I have been
there's
on the
one
Colts
team.
all season. Sorry, go ahead.
I think there's one team that's kind of I don't know if you can even call them a dark horse, but that if they get in, you do not want to play. I think I remember you guys gave me some flack earlier in the year about it because they were one of my Super Bowl picks. And that's the Buffalo Bills. Holy crap.
Trey. They're 8-6.
I know, but there was a question of it there for a while. I know this last one that they just got is kind of big and is going to help them out, especially over the Cowboys. But, man, they look like they're the old Bills that used to be scary and were perennial playoff contenders. So I just remember Tyler laughed at me. I think it was like week 3, and when they were like, "Oh, I forget what it was." But he was like, "Oh, Trey, your pick was the Bills in the Super Bowl."
Pretty sure it was Trent,
like,
but you can give it to me.
Guess
That's
what?
fine.
Guess what? I stood by him. I said, I still believe in him. And here we are.
Super Bowl picks, Trey, you were Niners Bills. Trent, you were Niners Ravens. And I was Niners Chiefs. So.
Who do you think out of all three of us have the best chances for that matchup?
Me.
I would. You can make the argument that Trent does. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're both one.
Well,
they're
right
both
now,
one seed,
but we got some weeks left.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I think this game. I think
Christmas.
this game is going to tell, which this can kind of transition us a little bit. I don't know if we want to talk about that game first, but I'm going to make the call right now that San Fran wins by 10 or more.
Whoa. Bold. Tyler, I'm hoping you don't make the spread your pick, just because I don't. Even I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm not saying like I'm cheering against them. I am, but I will say this is
Might make me officially make it that my pick then, Trey.
wow. The Ravens are 19-3-1 against the spread since December of 2017. So, as an underdog.
They were also
Jesus.
undefeated in preseason for how long until this year too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, last preseason.
It's not that they're undefeated, but I'm just saying. That's a. I know the old law of averages, but that's still that's a risky pick. I know, Ty, you're not sold because mainly Lamar Jackson.
That's exactly right.
And I would say that's what hold it. But he's starting to play, and I know he goes through phases like this. But he's playing some good football.
He is, but here's the thing:
losing that running back hurts big time.
He doesn't play good football though when he all of a sudden has to do a lot of things under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, what quarterback does?
But I'm just
saying about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning is
I constantly have the reminders of like when Lamar Jackson was in the playoffs and he tried to do everything, and he looked lost, he looked horrible, like he looked really bad, and I really feel like, I mean, the way that San Fran's defense is designed. I mean, come on, I'm not saying I don't know who would you argue? Would you say that Lamar's a better rushing quarterback than Jalen Hurts?
Yes. If Jalen Hurts doesn't have designed run plays or an offensive line like that, I think Lamar Jackson is just a natural better runner for sure.
Yeah, explosiveness, like ability to turn it and take it to the house, I think Lamar is. Jalen's kind of more of like a power runner. Wouldn't you guys say quarterback power? Like it's. it's not looking to like go for 20+ yards. It's looking to go for anywhere from like 5 to 8 yards. Right?
Yeah, I also think
and the tush push run. So
I think Jalen's a little bit better at protecting himself too when running.
yeah,
agree with that.
Absolutely. So I don't know that 5.5 point spread. That's
I have it at 5.
What a freaking terrible. I know, but still, I'm just looking at 5.5. But what a freaking line! Like, you kidding me? You're putting that right in between the field goal and the freaking touchdown type score differential. So
yeah,
I love it.
It's interesting too because
like a 24-20 game.
I looked at Purdy's touchdown passing props too, and he's at 1.5 again. But I think about the Ravens' The Ravens' defense is tough.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, to a point where it could end up being one of those Niner games where it's like, all right, listen, Purdy, you just got to make sure that you manage this, you do this, get the ball to Christian McCaffrey, and let Christian McCaffrey have 3 rushing touchdowns, which I could very well see happening. Hey, Debo, guess what? You're going to run a couple end arounds. You're going to kind of run this. Debo, you're also going to rush a rushing touchdown. Like, you know what I mean? I can see that happening. I could also see Brock Purdy having a rushing touchdown on a scramble. So 1.5. I mean, last week I felt like that was kind of a steal for our bet, but I don't think he might have 1 passing touchdown, maybe 1 rushing touchdown, but that's kind of where I'm at. So I don't know.
Wow.
Take a peek, but
you just better hope you guys are.
Interesting though, because I was going to say it's interesting that you kind of just fed into Trey's side of things, where you just said Brock just needs to manage the game.
Yeah, like he usually does.
Well, he doesn't always have to be the guy that does everything.
So if the Ravens are able to contain McCaffrey, can the Niners win it on Brock Purdy's arm?
Oh, for sure. Did you watch some of those throws last game? Did you watch that dime throw in the corner of the end zone with Debo? Doesn't matter.
What? Oh.
I'm talking about the throws. Like you're talking about the throws against an NFL defense.
All I'm saying, Tyler, is that you better hope that you guys aren't down by a touchdown or more going into the 4th.
Oh, there's that statistic about Kyle.
Yeah, he's 0 and 43, and trailing by more than a touchdown going into the 4th quarter. And Brock Purdy actually has the lowest QBR in the 4th quarter when trailing by a touchdown or more.
Okay. That's the stat you choose to use.
I was just throwing it out there. That's why I'm saying you guys better hope you're winning when you're going into the 4th quarter.
It does go to show you how good they are, being 5.5 point favorites against an 11-3 number 1 seed, and they're at home. So it's like I can't wait for this game. I think it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah,
it's going to be a hard-hitting game.
Yeah, that's Tyler. You on both sides of the ball. And I'm not saying this as a jinx. I swear. You just better hope everyone stays healthy.
Just stop.
That's all I'm saying. That's all for.
I wouldn't
talking
do that
Ravens.
to your team.
I'm
Don't
talking,
you do that to my team. That's
Tyler, I'm just stating. I'm not. I just said this is not a jinx. This isn't anything. But because Trent's right. This is going to be This is going to be a brutal game.
Yeah,
These are 2 very, very potent defenses that are elite, and it's going to be a lot. They want to make a statement. That's all I'm saying. That was not ill will at all.
All right. Any other games here? We want to do picks, bets? What we got? Teasers?
Let's do picks.
All right. Let's do some picks here.
Let's do picks and then close with our teasers here.
All right. Trent, you got your picks first?
Yeah. So I'll run down through them pretty quick here. I love the Lions-Vikings under 47. Vikings defense is silent. They're very under the radar good right now. I can't. You guys help me out here. Who's the D coordinator? The old coach of the Dolphins that got fired and has a lawsuit against
Brian Flores.
Yeah. So Brian Flores has that Vikings defense freaking playing. His scheme and his ability to be able to hide and disguise his coverage is it's state of the art good. Recommend you check it out, Ty.
He's also one of he blitzes more than any other coach too.
Yeah, and while disguising coverage behind it, which is phenomenal. But so I got that game going under. I would think the Lions would win by more than 3, but every time the Lions spread is that low, they end up getting crushed. So I'm staying away from their spread, but I like the under. I like the Colts plus 1.5 at the Falcons. I think there's another coach, although rumor is that he's safe, but I think the Falcons coach is on his way out the door, simply because all the guys that they're drafting, he's not getting them the ball. I got Ravens. I'm not betting this personally, but I did say Ravens plus 5.5 strictly to talk about that statistic about their streak against the spread as dogs. Other bet that I will take is Cowboys plus 1.5. They're in Miami, where I think, some would say, well, wait, they just got killed in Buffalo. They're on the road. They're a totally different team on the road. I mean, hell, Dak even admitted that this week about how bad they are on the road. But it's in Miami. Good weather. I don't think Miami's home field is that much of a home field advantage, so to speak. But one thing I want to say about this is the first time in NFL history where teams with 20-plus wins combined are playing each other, but also have one or fewer wins versus teams above 500. So Cowboys are 1-3 versus teams above 500. Then they're 9-1 versus teams below 500. The Dolphins are 0-3 versus teams above 500, and they're 10-1 versus teams below 500. So to have one win between the two teams against teams that are better than 500 is pretty nuts. That's a crazy statistic. And also kind of goes back to last week's conversation. Are these teams pretenders?
Yeah, for sure.
Last pick. Sorry to be long-winded there. Texans plus 2.5 at the Browns. I think you're going to be able to get them at plus 3, especially with word that C.J. Stroud is not going to be playing this week. I'm seeing a lot of books have that like minus 104, minus 105, which shows that it might move to a whole half a point. Here's the thing about the Browns, and the reason I still like the Texans in this. At home, the Browns do rank first at points allowed, averaging 13.1. However, they are dead last in points allowed when they play away, where they allow actually 30.7 points. So, yeah, that's a huge disparity in points allowed and also rank from first to last. But Houston's team total, last I saw, was at 22.5. And every single opponent against Cleveland has scored more than 22.5 points on them when Cleveland's on the road. So, something to keep an eye on.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, some numbers there for you.
Interesting. For me, I didn't really like many of the spreads necessarily. I did like a couple of the over-under totals. So, first bet for me is going to be Bills-Chargers over 43.5. I think the Bills kind of provide most of the points in that game, but I think the Chargers, second week with Easton Stick, new head coach, I think they're going to try to do some things. I think they're going to get Eckler back involved, which they should. So I like the 43.5 there. I also like the over in the Cardinals-Bears 43. I just think that's going to be kind of like a shootout, not much defense there. I think Justin Fields and Kyler Murray are going to do their thing, score a lot of points for those teams. Last pick is Cowboys-Dolphins over 50.
Wow, over 50.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Right. We're saving teasers,
It's going to be a
right?
shootout.
All right.
What's that?
No,
We're saving teasers.
So I'll give you guys a quick 4. I got under 37, Bengals, Steelers. I got the Lions minus 3. I got the Colts plus 1. And I got the Dolphins money line. Those are my 4 picks. So,
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'll dive right into my first 5B teaser.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got plus 6.5 points is what we're given here. The 5-legger is plus 290 in terms of odds. I got the Niners at plus 1. I got under 49 Giants Eagles. I got Jaguars plus 8, Browns plus 4, and Colts plus 8 to give you a plus 290 odds. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Trent, you want to go to yours?
No, I'll follow you. I'll close this up.
I'm still kind of constructing mine, so I'm like, mine's gonna be a 4-legger. I'm gonna get 6 points here. So I'm gonna go Packers plus 1.
Okay.
Colts plus 7. I'm gonna go over 43.5 Dolphins Cowboys. I'm gonna go over 37.5 Cardinals Bears. That's plus 254.
That's pretty good.
Whew. Tell you what, man. Yeah, these. My teaser was kind of disastrous last week, I feel. But I have a 5-legger as well, and it's given 6.5 points. I got Colts plus 8. I got Packers plus 2. I've got Texans plus 9. Lions plus 3.5, and the Patriots plus 13.
Wow.
Wow, Patriots plus 13, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's where it comes out to be plus 290. So not bad. Not bad juice for that 5-legger or 5-finger BBB teaser there, you know?
Wow.
Got kind of graphic there.
Hey, he did.
So I almost went a little step beyond. I'm sorry. So, at least I didn't make any terrible beer comments.
That's true. That's true.
I couldn't believe that.
All right, well, hey, that rounds out this episode. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Enjoy your Christmas weekend.
Wait, Tyler, I have to call somebody out.
Oh, no.
I got to call out Joey Brackets.
Joey Brackets.
I'm calling out Joey Brackets. Released his first 64 field, whatever, 68, and he had the ACC so down as usual. And let's just say tonight, the ACC's 2 big dogs took down 2 of the Big 12's big dogs.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did.
So he can.
You mean Wednesday?
Yes, sorry, yeah. So this week. So it's like, you know what? I'm sick of the hate. I'm sick of the hate all about the ACC, but they win big games when the big times show up. So once again, I had to get that in. 1, take a shot at Joey Brackets, but 2, also to fulfill my ACC sponsorship protocol. So yeah. So college basketball full swing. I can't wait till we can start talking about it more on here.
Yep.
I know the NFL rules the world, but you guys see the recipes out there. We're all aboard on college basketball.
Oh, my God, yeah. Love it.
So,
all right, guys. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great holiday weekend. Merry Christmas. And we will see you next week before we get into 2024, which, honestly, when we really look at it, guys, that's going to conclude Season 1. We're going to jump into Season 2.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
wow.
Hey, take it easy, fellas.
All right.
Yep.
Have a
Merry
great
Christmas.
weekend. Merry Christmas.